As with Pamukkale, we chose to stay in Garema for 4 days to be right in the centre of attractions rather than staying in the larger town of Nevşehir. Most tourists stay in Nevşehir, which has a population of 86,000, whereas Garema has a population of only 2,200. The Paradise Cave Hotel where we stayed was in amongst a cluster of other hotels. We booked it using booking.com and it was $50 a night including breakfast. It actually had a cave you could stay in, but it had no bathroom, no toilet and not much space, so we gave it a miss. From the rooftop restaurant and lounge area, there are views of the surrounding landscape. The hotel we were staying at was conveniently situated, 1 minute's walk from the main shopping centre and local restaurants. This is the Cappadocia version of the hamburger and chips. Not even ham. The Hittites settled in Cappadocia 3,800 years ago in 1800 BC, after which smaller kingdoms held power. Then came the Persians, followed by the Romans, who established the capital Caesarea, or modern-day Kayseri. During the Roman and Byzantine periods, Cappadocia became a refuge for early Christians, and from 400 to 1100 AD, Christianity flourished here. Most churches, monasteries and underground cities date from this period. Cappadocia progressively lost its importance in Anatolia until a tourist boom in the 1980s kick-started a new era, and now it's one of Turkey's most famous and popular destinations. Cappadocia is also mentioned in the Bible book of 1 Peter chapter 1 verse 1.
Houston, we've had a problem.
Roger that.
Failure is not an option.
When we arrived at Nevşehir Hospital, we were told because we were foreigners we had to pay full price. Expecting to pay thousands of dollars for the hospital visit and medicines, the bill only came to $60. Health services in Turkey are much better than they are in New Zealand. The next day we went to the Özluca underground city. No tourists come to this one, which is great as it's virtually untouched from old times. Pretty narrow. This is just a bit like the other one, isn't it?
Oh, she didn't switch the light off while we're down.
Yeah, well, she gets no money for that. Yeah, this is more genuine, isn't it?
It's quite cool once you get down.
Yeah.
Doesn't it? And you know that defence mechanism.
Yeah.
The wheel.
Hey?
That stone mechanism for defence.
Hmm.
That's interesting. So I think you had that wheel thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, look, there's a wheel. 7 kilometres away is the Cappadocia underground city, where all the tourists in this area go. It's highly touristified, so for that reason, we gave it a miss. The next stop was Itchasa with a population of 6,300. It's the highest point in the region. It has a castle which is a volcanic outcrop riddled with tunnels and windows. In ancient times, tunnels ran from the castle into the valley below for escape purposes. These tunnels are no longer accessible due to erosion and collapse. A climb to the top of the castle was a must. Another 150 steps. Later that day I went for a walk around the hotel area while Lillian had a rest. I walked past the Anatolian Balloon Company's takeoff area where they were servicing and testing their balloons. I would take a flight up in one of those the next day. There are heaps of abandoned cave dwellings in this area and it makes for a fascinating walk. I didn't bother to go into the Garema Open Air Museum, it's just more of the same as what I'd been seeing on my walk. Oops. A bit slippery here. The Cappadocia area rock formations are called fairy chimneys, and it's easy to see why. At 3 p.m. we decided to drive to Javashan to see its church, Cappadocia's first post-iconoclastic church. Second to last stop of the day was the Zelva Open Air Museum, where 3 valleys of abandoned homes and churches converge. Zelva was a monastic retreat from 900 to 1300 AD, but from 1952 the valleys were deemed too dangerous to live in due to erosion. This is what happens when you get other people to take photos of you and that person's not Lillian. Just west of the town of Avanos, we saw a whole pile of monoliths on the hill. Curiosity got the better of us and we drove up the mountain to investigate. There were huge ruts in the steep road, which was rock and dirt, but the rental car was strong and we made it to the top. Rather than being built by aliens, we saw that the structures were being built by Turks and represented mankind's ideals of justice, liberty, freedom and integrity.